there's one thing that is keeping you from anything prosperous in life. We have all these goals, we have all these things that we desire, and a part of life, you're going to always have goals. You're always going to want to level up, and that's normal, But the main thing that most people deal with is pride. A lot of people don't want to talk about it. A lot of people feel like when somebody calls you out on your stuff or addresses something very directly, it's always a result of you being a bad person or this person being very mean to you, when in reality, that's what genuine love is. Genuine love is going to tell you the truth. Genuine love is also not going to rescue people from their own demise. And a lot of the times it's because of pride. Pride will have you know the right thing to do and still choose to do the negative thing. Pride will have you having an attitude, which could be rightfully so. You may have been hurt by somebody. You may have been just really scarred by somebody, have a lot of trauma from certain situations. So now you develop this mentality that you're always a victim, and in reality you probably were a victim of somebody else's harsh treatment. But living in a space of victimhood will allow you to walk in a space where you feel like you're entitled to poor behavior, or entitled to having an attitude towards other people, or entitled to people doing what you expect for them to do, and you get angry when they don't. That's pride. Being humble is actually a choice, and the opposite of pride is humility. And a lot of the times we are not humble enough. That's why we can't pray. That's why we can't read our word. That's why we can't hear God. And if we do hear God, because a lot of people are walking around with the Holy Spirit and just ignoring him, you actually have the Holy Spirit. You hear him very clearly, but instead you want to choose your own path and your own way because you feel entitled to do that. You feel like your life has been not the best. You've had really bad childhood memories. You have really bad just memories in life in general. It could be even present things that are not going well in life, so you feel like you're entitled to go your own way. But that's one of the reasons why stuff keeps not happening. A lot of the times we are leaning into our own understanding, and that's what we can't do. You can't do that. Even when times are tough and you have these questions like, why me? Why does it have to happen to me? Why is this all of this? But there's a lack of accountability. Have you humbled yourself? Because pride is making you even make the same choice over and over again and keep getting the same result. A lot of people get very irritated with people who are very brutally honest. And that's fine, because it's nothing but pride that's having you cause that reaction. There's times for being ashamed and just feeling down about some of the choices you made, but it should not be something that is consistent. You shouldn't be feeling shameful for the rest of your life. If you made a mistake, you've had something, you've done to somebody, and maybe you were in a prideful moment, and have you actually taken the time out to forgive yourself? Even if another person, you feel they don't forgive you, or maybe they have forgiven you, but you can't even accept that they have, because of pride. Pride will have you sitting there having full-blown conversations about scenarios that happened years ago to other people because you can't let things go. And it's because you're not humbling yourself to the hand of the Lord to let him deal with everything that you're going through. There's many of cases where you're going to walk into being hurt. Hurt is going to be a part of our lives. We're human. We live in a sinful world. We live in a place where most people are filled with trauma and most people are filled with pride. A lot of people are not humble. To really come across a person who's humble and actually means what they say is very rare. But in reality, if a person says something, believe it. If a person acts differently, believe it. But if a person is telling you something and they've already moved on and you still can't let things go, there's an area of pride in your heart that you need to deal with. And you need to be very direct about it. I can't forgive this person, or I can't let go of this feeling and this sense of emotion or this space in my heart because I'm still angry at this person. And let it be so. Talk to God about it. You don't have to even go to that person a lot of the times, because the person might not even be worried about it. The person might have moved on with their life, or the person might notice it and they might just honestly not fool with you at all. And after a while, you just kind of get less and less connections, or everybody you meet, it keeps falling to the wayside because of pride. And there's some areas maybe that person felt comfortable enough to address it with you, but you have a faulty way of thinking and your perspective is off. So when a person tells you something and they feel like they can come to you, that's actually healthy. It's healthy to really be direct and be straightforward with people. But if you can't accept that, then there's a problem. there's a really strong problem, and it's an area of pride that we need to really, really, really get rid of. And a lot of that time is going to cause us to fast. It's going to cause us to really become very, very, very radical in our faith. You have to become very, very radical. Like, how bad do you really want to be free? How bad do you really want genuine connections? How bad do you really want to connect with somebody who is just godly? How bad do you want to change your thought patterns in your mind and renew your mind? Because it's going to take some radical faith. There's going to take some radical choices. Some people who are used to the certain you are going to have to let that go. And it's hard because I think a lot of us have even pride in people pleasing. That's something that I dealt with a lot in my life. I've always felt the need to want people to like me. I've always been told like negative things about my attitude, and rightfully so. I did have an attitude issue to a certain extent, and then some of that is just my temperament that God created me to be, and I have to walk in that and be bold in that and know that he's calling me to call a spade, call sin, and deal with what things are. But that doesn't boil down to me being okay with being rude with people, treating people poorly, treating people like they're less than. That's something I don't do, and that's something that I'm not. But I had an issue with that for years. I ignored people. People would say something, I'm cutting them off as far as they're unimportant. I might cut you off now because I might be a little excited about the conversation, but it's not out of rudeness, and it's out of a different space in my heart. But back then, yes, I did have a horrible heart. Like, I had a bitter heart, an angry heart, a frustrated heart, and I was just upset with my childhood memories, so I treated people poorly. But now, as I've gotten better, renewed my mind, went radical in my faith, I really, really, really began to fast more. I learned a new fasting life. I read the Bible. I watched different sermons, but I also took in everything that I learned, and they told me if I wanted to be delivered from demons, I wanted to be delivered from generational familiar curses. Once they told me what to say, what to do, I went to my prayer place and I did that. I prayed, I warred, I cried. I dealt with some of those issues that I've had, some of the trauma that I've had, and I had to let God really, really heal my heart. And it took me some time. And in that space, yes, I was still connecting with people. I was still going to church. I was still going out to eat. I was having a good time. But there was also times and spaces where I had to really withdraw and go into my secret place. And now that's a normal thing for me, because when stuff don't go my way, like I said, there's still people. And when you find somebody who's really humble, it's very rare. So when you around a lot of prideful people, you have to go to that secret place, or you will become bitter. I will become that person again. I will become that angry person. And now I'm treating everybody poorly based on my perception of things. And it's not healthy, because my perception is not the truth. So when I say definitely there isn't one major thing that comes between genuine growth, genuine connections, a deep relationship with God, a newness of understanding and knowledge and wisdom, it is because we lack humility. And it's because you're not spending time with God, because you don't even feel like maybe he's not going to hear you. Maybe you feel like, it can't happen for you, but in reality it can. But how radical are you about actually choosing to walk in faith? It's a choice. Being humble is a choice, and also being prideful is a choice. Every way you treat somebody poorly, any negative choice that you make that is unhealthy, anything that you do is a choice. And I feel like that's why, even God we're choosing heaven or hell every day. And it's up to us to choose the right thing to do. So we can't say, oh, why did God make a hell for everybody? In reality, the hell was meant for demonic spirits and Satan himself. But when you're actually choosing the demonic realm and you're choosing to walk after Satan, you're going to end up in his territory. But if you choose God and you choose his host and heavenly host and his heavenly way, and not leaning into your own understanding, but acknowledging God in all of your ways, you're choosing heaven every day. So even when you're hurting, I get hurt a lot. I get hurt. I've been hurt. I've been wounded. I've been full of grief and frustration and anger. But I had to choose God still. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. And even though I had a lot of drinking, I had a lot of issues, my mental health is really strung out from just losing my mom and just losing things. I just felt like I just couldn't keep anything. I still leaned towards God. So what I'm going to tell you is to choose humility and stop walking in pride.